Now, my point of this whole long fucking story.
Hey, it's Ryan from the Carb Situation. Remember, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nutritionist, I'm not a trainer. I'm just a human guinea pig who likes to read a lot and willing to experiment. If you go on the journey with me, maybe you'll learn what I learned. Oh yeah, and I curse a lot. Let's do this.
Today I want to talk to you about burning fat for fuel instead of glucose. I had a very interesting impromptu experiment yesterday. All through the Carb Situation Project, I've been keeping my exercise the same, whether I was gaining weight or when I was losing weight. And that consists of about 2 to 3 strength training sessions per week and 2 to 3 bike rides per week. So yesterday I go on my normal bike ride, and out of the blue I come to a turn and I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna go set a record. I'm gonna go ride further than I've ever ridden before. I got over near this place called Epic here in the town that I live in, Fort Collins. And at that point, the trails kind of diverge. You can go one of a few different ways. Well, probably about a year ago, I used to ride on a trail over there called the Power Trail because I lived in a different place. And the Power Trail is awesome, but it's kind of brutal because it's very hilly. It has lots of hills. I was like, man, let's try the Power Trail. I haven't been on there forever. So I took a left instead of a right and decided to hit the Power Trail. And I went way past where I expected to go. I just kind of kept riding like Forrest Gump. I felt like going and going. So I did. And then I had to ride back, and I took this other trail called the Spring Creek Trail. And that got me closer to downtown where I live. I was still feeling funky, so I decided to take a left and go up the Pooter Trail and rode all the way to LaPorte and back. So when it was all said and done, I rode 35.7 miles in a little bit under 3 hours. And I think my previous distance record was 23 miles, which isn't that big of a deal. Lots of people ride 100 miles or more all the time. But for me, I usually ride 10 to 20 miles. And so 35 was a long ride for me. A couple disadvantages I had was I wasn't planning on this when I left my house. So I only took enough water for what I usually take for my 12-mile ride. So I had to kind of ration my hydration, and I did not have enough hydration. And I started getting some crazy headaches and feeling very parched and dehydrated probably 2/3 of the way through the ride. Plus, for those of you who know my neck issues, riding a bike and looking up, it can get pretty rough after about an hour. So that sucked as well. And then, of course, I haven't ridden that long at one time before, so my ass was totally in pain from the bicycle seat. But all that aside, I was amazed at the fact that I never actually succumbed to any fatigue. In fact, if I had more water and my neck and my ass didn't hurt so much, I could have kept riding for I don't know how long. I still felt like I had plenty of energy. The one thing I did notice is I try to train at a low heart rate level, somewhere around 130 beats per minute. And after about an hour, my heart rate jumped up to pretty much max. It was between 150 and 170 throughout the rest of my ride. And my theory on that is probably since I was not adequately hydrated, I think my heart had to do a lot more work to oxygenate my muscles. Even with my heart pumping like crazy, I never felt any fatigue or dizziness or anything like that. Now, my point of this whole long fucking story is that I'm in ketosis right now. So that means my body is using fat for fuel, and I don't have very much glucose in my blood. It's pretty much always in the 70 to 110 range. So since my muscles don't have to burn glucose, the muscles are burning fat, which is way more efficient and long lasting. People who carb load and do things like this, and they're relying on their muscles to burn glucose throughout their entire workout, that glucose has to be refueled. That's why you have the energy gel packs and all that stuff. I just heard a very interesting number from following Phil Maffetone and Brian Johnson talking about on glucose, your muscles can sustain around 4 hours of energy. But on fat alone, your muscles, even for someone very, way more fit than me, like in the 6 to 10% body fat range, that fat can sustain your muscles for 40 hours. So think of it like a fire, okay? Glucose is like newspaper and twigs and kindling. It burns up, it burns hot, fast, good, but then it's gone. And you have to keep putting more and more on the fire if you want to keep going. Fat is like that big, thick log with the bark still on it. It just sits there and burns and burns and burns and doesn't stop. So I've always kind of known this or hypothesized this, that if your body was running on fat, you're going to be in a lot better shape than if it's running on glucose. But yesterday I actually had the chance to experience it for myself, and it was mind-blowing, I gotta tell you. So if you get yourself into ketosis and your body is running on fat, then by all means keep yourself well hydrated and push yourself to very different limits than whenever you used to run on carbohydrates. And I think you'll be surprised with the results. I certainly was. So I thought that was very interesting. I wanted to bring it up, see what you guys think. So leave me comments, questions below. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and check out my website. So until next time, eat lots of fat. Cheers.